gross corruption that is the U.S. empire. Anyhow, yeah, this was the point of this little talk here. Is Obama, he is not doing what it is that the government is supposed to do, and instead he's doing mass murder. He was actually a war criminal on his third day in office. That he bombed Pakistan. He murdered women and children on his third day in office. It was actually the CIA. The CIA conducted a bombing. The CIA is obviously under the direction of the president, and they conducted a bombing in Pakistan in which they murdered women and children. But that's not even why. That's not even the initial reason why it was a war crime. From the moment that the bomb was dropped from the drone over Pakistan, it was a war crime. Before even it landed and exploded women and children, the moment that the bomb was dropped, it was a war crime. Reason being, the Geneva Convention, it requires, in order for one nation to do aerial bombardment on another nation, war must be declared, and the war must be a just war, that there must be, particularly, there has to be an invasion of your nation by whatever nation it is you're declaring war on. And Afghanistan, they didn't invade us. They apparently there was Osama bin Laden. He's not even Afghani by birth. He's Saudi Arabian, and most of the 9/11 hijackers, they were Saudi Arabian. And there wasn't even one Afghani person in the whole of the 9/11 plot. So for us to make war on Afghanistan makes no sense at all. And if Osama bin Laden, if there was any evidence, which has never been any presentation of evidence connecting Osama bin Laden to 9/11, but if there was evidence that Osama bin Laden was involved in 9/11, then it should have been handled as a legal process. And the Taliban, who was the rightful government of Afghanistan, was actually agreed to deliver us Osama bin Laden. They told us, present us the evidence that you have connecting Osama bin Laden to 9/11, and we will gather up Osama bin Laden and we will hand him to you. And that's what should have been done, is Bush should have made presentment of evidence, or he should have had the State Department make the presentment of the evidence connecting Osama bin Laden to 9/11, and then it should have been prosecuted as such. But Osama bin Laden, he was a CIA agent since the early 80s, when who was it? George Herbert Walker Bush Sr. He recruited Osama bin Laden to head the Mujahideen, to repel the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, which was basically a favor to the ruling junta in Russia to dispatch with their boys, the military-minded people of Russia, who had been trained in military art, trained in military skills. So, what does it do? It causes a skew in the survival rate, women versus men, which allows the women to be more easily dominated. That the women, they experience conditions of wanting, that they want husbands, and it's going on in Russia to this very day. That the women, they outnumber the men, and that they live lives of want. That and for all that want, they're more easily manipulated. And so that's really what the Russian government was trying to accomplish, and what they did accomplish with Afghanistan is they skewed the survival rate, men versus women, and then they're over there taking advantage of all these women that cannot find men. The wealthy and the government of Russia. Anyhow, I don't know, to get back to the point at hand, Obama skirts fundraising rules as small donors flee. I don't know, basically, this right-wing propaganda they actually, they lay out, I don't know, let me just jump down right to the last paragraph. From the first day he announced he was running for president, Barack Obama hasn't accepted a dime from federal lobbyists or political action committees, LeBolt said. Wow, well, that sounds like a really good guy. He sounds like a guy that we want running for office, right? That he's refusing to accept money from lobbyists or political action committees. Now, you say, like, how is this right-wing propaganda? Get on Newsmax.com and, subscribe to their mailing list, and it'll be pretty obvious to you pretty quick how right-wing, nut jobs these people are. But that they're out here pushing Obama, trying to say that he's a nice guy in this article, it's affirmation that Obama is he's a right-wing plant, that he's no type of leftist president. Even if he was a leftist president, then that would be just as bad. He's as fake leftist as he is, he's not fake leftist in any way effectual, because of how obvious it is that he's trying to murder people by financial chicanery. He's trying to kick people out of their homes, by bailing out the banks and letting the banks get away with these adjustable rate mortgage swindles that they did. That they foreclosed on a bunch of people's homes after they had entrapped them in adjustable rate mortgages, and then used that that hokey contractual situation. How can you make a contract with somebody saying, like, we'll make the terms of the contract later? Adjustable rate mortgage. That's what they are. They're a criminal instrument that was just recently created. That it's not even any type of legal contract. You cannot make a contract that says, we'll hash out the details of the contract later. And for right now you're gonna pay us this, and then eventually we're gonna tell you what you're really gonna pay us. That is no type of legal contract. It's just some open-ended nonsense BS that, they used as an abuse of people. It was a very obvious abuse of people, and that's what it turned into when they started foreclosing on people's homes and kicking them out of their homes. And rather than prosecute these criminals who did this adjustable rate mortgage BS, Obama, he bails out the banks. Because they got saddled with all this debt that they very intentionally took on and bundled and sold to other banks, that those banks eventually got bankrupted, and then when Obama bailed out the too-big-to-fail banks, they cannibalized all these little banks that failed because they bought up all this nonsense debt. So it's just one major screw over, and that the right wing is now trying to put Obama back in office, is it's pretty silly, ridiculous. But that's what this article shows to me. The way that they wrap this article, trying to say, like, Obama, he denied all. From the first day he announced he was running for president, Barack Obama hasn't accepted a dime from federal lobbyists or political action committees. Okay, federal lobbyists, political action committees. Gee, I wonder where all Obama's cash came from. It didn't come from federal lobbyists or political action committees. And then, I already knew. I read this back in 2008 when this article first came out. Obama accepting untraceable donations, October 29th, 2008. And Obama had the biggest campaign war chest of all time. And, this was part of it, that he was accepting untraceable donations. That people were using credit cards that they could buy in, like, CVS or whatever pharmacy. You buy these anonymous credit cards, which are they're a debit card, really. You just you put whatever money onto it, and then you can spend whatever money off of it. But it's all anonymous. That you don't have to declare your name as whoever is buying the card, and then. in the midst of this, that he's accepting all this money off of untraceable credit cards. Let me get to where they have this. I want to read this right off of this article. This article's on WashingtonPost.com, by the way. This I don't know, that's not the easy way to find it, though. Just Google Obama accepting untraceable donations. I should bring it right to the top of Google. But, yeah, here it is. Dan Pfeiffer, Obama's communications director, said that no organization can fully insulate itself from these problems. The McCain campaign has accepted contributions from fraudulent contributors like A4U, Adorable Manabat, The Gun Shop, and Jesus 2, and hundreds of anonymous donors. I don't know. That was McCain's. That's not what I was looking for, though. It was, I don't know, I was looking for the some of the anonymous donors that were attributed to the Obama donations, which I guess it was on the page before this, because I don't see it here. I think if I do a search for DOO, yeah, there it is. Okay, in recent weeks, questionable donations have created headaches for Obama's accounting team, as it has tried to explain why campaign finance filings have included itemized donations from individuals using fake names, such as S.Esh or Doodad Pro. Those revelations prompted conservative bloggers to further test Obama's finance vetting by giving money using the kind of prepaid cards that can be bought at a drugstore and cannot be traced to a donor. So, that's how it is, that these people, they're, the politicians, they're accepting cash from these criminal entities that are bribing them very illegally without any way to trace who it is that's bribing them. And of course, they can have conversations with them aside saying, we're gonna put like, $2,500, $500 donations on your tomorrow. We're gonna put $2,500, $500 donations, so like, however many 100,000 or however many millions of dollars, they can have this little conversation with these people aside and say like, you're gonna get our back, right? If we do this, if we give you these millions of dollars, you're going to get our back, right? And then, something that a lot of people don't realize is when they collect all this money for campaign contributions, that when they wrap their campaign, whatever money is left over is theirs to spend. For example, Ron Paul, he wrapped his last campaign with, I want to say it was $5 million approximate dollars. It was like $4.5 million, $5 million or something. But he turned that into his personal cash that he spent to start a publishing company. So, Obama, campaign war chest. There's a search I'm going to do on Google. Obama fills campaign war chest in Chicago. Obama's campaign war chest growth versus U.S. economic growth. Even with 1 billion... Is that right? 1 billion war chest or something. MSNBC, Chuck Todd asks, anyone smell expectations game being played by Team Obama with 60 million second quarter fundraising goal? They need to average more than 100 million over 7 quarters to match 2008. 100 million over 7 quarters, so $700 million is what he had in 2008, or something close to that. Even with 1 billion war chest, President Obama could be in trouble. Huge war chest puts Obama in debt. Even with... President Barack Obama official announced that he will seek re-election. Came as no surprise on Capitol Hill. I, for one, don't understand it. Why doesn't Obama quit while he's sort of ahead? His successful 2008 strategy that included brass bands on stages decked with American flags won't cut it in 2012. I don't know. I read at one point that Obama had the largest campaign war chest of all time.